What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Junkies. I'm your host, Ferran, here again with my man Vito, and we are coming with my favorite genre of
Oh,
film, which is crime
you know,
thrillers. What you think I was going to say?
I was about to say my favorite film.
This is good, but it ain't that good now. But my favorite genre, which is crime thrillers, which this does fall in that category, and that is Crime 101. Kind of under the radar film. Didn't really get a lot of attention, I feel like, when it was released last month. And I feel like it's gotten a little bit of traction since then, but I don't remember seeing like a whole lot of hype leading up to this film, honestly. The cast is very stacked. We
It's
got
a
Chris
stack
Hemsworth.
fucking class.
You got Mark Ruffalo, Halle Berry, Barry Cogan. I feel like they sat down and basically charted out a list of anyone who's played a Marvel and or DC character and just took names from that list, because after a while it stops being a coincidence with some of the talent they have in here. Directed by Bart Leighton, who I'm not overly familiar with a lot of his work. Like looking through it now, I have not seen most of these films. This is really like my first introduction to him. So far off to a good start. It follows a thief with a code, for lack of a better word, for lack of a better phrase, a thief with a code, and he comes into contact with an insurance broker, and their journey kind of goes from there. I don't want to speak too in depth on the story because it's one of those films that, and this is probably one of my biggest, my biggest things about this film that I liked, I'll say, is this film doesn't like try to over explain the plot to you. It doesn't try to like sit you down and go, okay, here's what's happening, here's why. It really kind of just goes, here's the characters, you're gonna see what they do, you're gonna see who they interact with, what they say, what their actions are, and we're just gonna let that speak for itself. Where this film doesn't really pause to give you a lot of exposition behind things or things like that. It really just presents the events to you and trusts you as the viewer to kind of put the pieces together yourself, which is one thing I really liked. Just to start off, I don't know if you have any initial thoughts you want to come off the dome with on this one.
Um, I don't think I have any initial thoughts because most of my thoughts are it's really centered around the end of the middle and end of the movie, to be honest with
Okay.
you. I will say it's not a bad movie. It's a good watch. I'm just go into it. It kind of it loses me towards the middle end of the movie.
Okay.
You're right. They don't really go into a lot of detail about what his motivations are and all this good stuff. But honestly, it kind of starts lacking at a point because of that
Yeah.
throughout the movie. You're like, okay,
Mhm.
well, we get part of you like money, we get that, but then it's kind of like, all right. And we've talked about this before. Sometimes over explaining is an issue. I feel like in this movie they under explained a lot of things. Stack cast. Like you said, I didn't even think what's Barry Cogan's right?
Yeah, Barry Cogan. Barry
Hogan,
Cogan.
yeah.
We're just gonna say that for now. Yeah, Barry Cogan.
I didn't even realize he was in a movie. I didn't realize Nick Nolte was in a movie. Um, there's a lot of people in this movie, honestly, and I feel like a lot of people in this movie are somewhat wasted. Um,
That's
you,
fair.
you do have the film is it's really about um one person. That's Chris Hemsworth's person who I say for the lack of better terms, he's the protagonist of the movie. But
Yeah, it's not really a lot of good guys in here,
yeah,
but
but
protagonists.
but he shares the screen with, Mark Ruffalo and Halle Berry. It's kinda told the story is kinda told by their 3 points of view.
Mhm.
Um, and then I'm gonna do something we don't usually do. I'm gonna read part of a review that I read at the
Okay.
end of this because I was like, "Oh, this really encapsulates." Oh my god. I'm struggling today, dog.
Hey,
Um
it's been a long week and it's only we only made our way through it.
It
So
it
I
it
understand.
it really hits the points I'm gonna have to find it again too. It really hits the points that I want to make about the movie as a whole.
Yeah.
But I also like I said, I think it really does. It starts very, very strong and it just doesn't finish for me. His character is kind of odd, man. And when I say
Yeah.
his, I mean Chris Hemsworth.
Uh-huh.
Because there's scenes where you're like, okay, is this nigga autistic? And I say that not joking. I very
Yeah.
seriously. I'm like, is this
Yeah.
nigga autistic? And then I'm like, "Oh, no, he's smooth as fuck, that's the act." Like, "Oh, no, I think this nigga's autistic." When he's acting or, when he's acting like when we see him looking like he's normal or was perceived to be normal and he's, like, straightforward and talking to people, that's him struggling to do. That's him acting, alright?
Yeah.
His character and I think that's part of the reason because they kinda introduce a lot of plot points and then just
Hmm.
kinda poof. Like, they
Yeah.
don't talk about the shit again. Um, I don't know, man. I think I got more, when I left out of the movie, I said, "Alright, that's not that bad." I started looking at some of these reviews after I watched the movie, and I'm like, "Okay, it kinda is that bad." And it's that bad because of, like I said, the unfinished plot points, kinda the story is good. The story is good for the most part, but the script just does not land. There are some key things that happen throughout this movie, which obviously I'm not gonna be able to get into. We just want to keep this a little fresh for y'all because I think it is a good movie to go watch. It's just not a, I don't know, dog.
I'll say this, it's definitely not gonna be for everybody, I'll say that. It's a slow burn.
Yeah, it is.
It definitely takes its time before I mean, it starts off kinda fast-paced,
Mhm.
like the opening scene is, but after that, it definitely hits a lull, and it kinda, like you said, starts to tell the story from 3 different perspectives. You're getting Chris Hemsworth, Davis, who's the thief. You get Mark Ruffalo's character, who's playing the detective trying to catch the thief, and you got Halle Bailey's character, Halle
Who?
Berry's character. Jeez, I'm going through the
Say
same shit you going
what?
through right now. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't mess up Holly Berry, dog.
Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Halle Berry's character, who is playing an insurance agent who's kind of like just got caught in the middle of the plot that's going on of general I mean, she was at first. Look, before we
At
even get
first,
to
yeah,
at
yeah,
first, at first, before she became any type of willing participant, she was just, oh, you just so happen to be close to the person we trying to hit this lick on. So you're the connection. We're gonna get to him through you. So that's all she was at first.
So, and that's part of the, like I said, when you watch the trailer, it's a few things they talk about in the trailers. It's that he approaches her, or in the trailer, it looks like she approaches him, and they know each other already. Which is
Mhm,
not how it happens. Which that's cool. That's not a problem. But they mention where he commits these crimes at. He doesn't use violence. When I started reviewing, like, what I seen in the trailer, and as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, "Okay, well, this could have been explained out a little better."
mhm.
And one of those things is I don't think they meet until probably, like, halfway throughout the movie's almost over when
Yeah,
Holly Berry and, Hemsworth fucking actually meet,
yeah,
which is odd. It's very wild because, like I said, the trailer shows it is, she's bringing him something like, "Hey, this is
mhm.
going on," and it doesn't really go into her motivations. Like I said, you see her motivations in the movie. You see, I don't even want to say you. They really don't mention Mark Ruffalo's character in the trailers that much, and he has a lot more screen time than I thought he would have.
He's like damn near the second most important character in this movie, honestly, behind
Mhm.
Chris Hemsworth. Like probably gets the most screen time, and I think he's the character that's the most fleshed out. I would say also Mark Ruffalo's character. I think he's the character that had the most like development out of anybody in here.
And I don't
'Cause
understand why.
yeah, it was a weird choice because you even see like at the beginning of this movie, he looks like a dude that's going through a divorce because he is, but he like looks like it, like he
Well,
just
not yet.
looks
He
close.
starts going through divorce throughout the movie, like, and that's what
Yeah.
that's what that when you that's why I
Or
feel
I'll
like,
say he looks like a person who's unhappy with his current
yeah,
marriage. You
but
see it from the first scene the first time you see him on screen.
so and you bring up a great point because, like I said, like that I feel like that sort of becomes crucial to his motivations throughout the movie, but also he was happy in his marriage, or he was content in
Yeah.
his marriage. He's not getting a divorce because he wants a divorce, and there was no need for him to actually be going through a divorce in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
it was kinda just thrown out there, and, like I said, they bring up some things and they mention some things about him, and then you're like, "Okay, well, this is why he did what he did." And
Mhm.
they kinda do that with everybody. They sprinkle in a bit of, "Alright, well, this person likes this. They're going through this. They bring this up." But it's really not. I'll say the person that they are at the beginning of the movie, kinda doesn't make sense to the people that they are at the end of the movie, and I think this goes for everybody that's in here.
Yeah.
Um, it just doesn't. I think the only character that stayed true to who they were throughout the movie was Barry, Cogan. That's the only person.
He is
And
the only character that from the first time you see him to the last scene, he is the exact same
and
person.
and and
That's
that
fair.
and that that's it. There's really no and I say that because we want characters to grow throughout movies. These characters grow throughout the movie, but there's no explanation to why. They just do.
Yeah.
So, one day, I'm trying to give an example that's not gonna ruin the movie. Think about hmm, who was who's a villain that becomes a hero in a if you've
I was
seen
about to say
Dragon Ball
Kylo
Z,
Ren, but I don't like that answer.
absolutely not.
But
Um
I mean, it fits.
You know what? But yeah,
Um,
let's do no, I wanna do because I wanna do kind
it's
of
an
a
it's an example of doing that poorly.
I
So
was
I
trying
mean,
to
I think
do
that supports
here,
your
I was about to
example.
say Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, but no, he was a straight up villain before. Same
Yeah.
thing. So let's say, you think more people that seen Dragon Ball Z or
Or Star Wars: Last Skywalker. I mean, hopefully more people have seen Dragon Ball Z, considering
Alright,
how
so
bad Rise of Skywalker is. So we can roll with Dragon Ball.
let's go with Dragon Ball Z. Actually, that's a perfect example because I still don't understand why this nigga is helping these niggas. Why are you fighting with them?
If they supposed to be your enemies.
Yeah, like honestly, why the fuck is Vegeta still? I don't remember at what point because I haven't watched Dragon Ball Z in so long. I don't remember at what episode he was like, "All right, I don't want to kill y'all niggas no more. Let's hang out together."
Yeah,
And
but
also,
like to your point, that's kind of how quick some of the character motivations in this
and,
change.
and
Like
that's the
literally
point I
like
was
the
trying to get
next
at.
scene. It's like
And,
literally the next scene. Like,
and
oh,
there's
that ain't what you was
nothing
trying to do before.
that really forces it. It's no thought about it. There is
Yeah.
a
They kind of try to explain it with
they so
one of the characters because there's a character that is going through a difficult situation at work, and they try to use that as like
that
the
makes
core
sense.
motivation on like, all right, here's why they flip flopped. So like, there's some parts where they try
That's
to explain it.
that's the only one.
Hmm.
Outside of that, I'm gonna give a brief spoiler, but it's not really a spoiler. I don't know because it's not really important to the story.
Hmm.
I did not understand why Mark Ruffalo plays a detective that's trying to he's part of the robbery unit in LA. And first off, I want to start off by saying Taz. I don't know. I know we've talked about this previously. I know I said I was going to watch it. I don't remember if you said with Mark Ruffalo. He plays a
The
FBI.
HBO show
Yeah,
on task. Yeah.
he
Okay.
plays an FBI agent who's going through some stuff. All right,
Hmm.
so he's out of the field, and he gets brought into a task force that has the FBI led task force to catch some robbers they're robbing drug dealers or drug houses. All right.
Okay.
The whole show is surrounding that, and it's so much happens behind it. And again, it's a TV show, so they're able to flesh out characters a little better. But it was just it's so much better than what this was. And again, I don't hate this movie, but it could have been better. I did not like the whole "Oh, you have this theory about a robber. No one else on the department believes you, and everybody hates you because of it." Like, I didn't understand that. Why
Yeah.
does everyone hate this nigga for this theory? I've never met a cop. I've never watched a cop show where they like, "Oh, yeah, we hate this nigga because he thinks this is happening." And mind you, they start off while they're chasing Chris Hemsworth's character. They're like, "Oh yeah, another robbery just happened, and we don't have any evidence."
Yeah.
So like him having a theory makes sense. We don't have
Hmm.
any other evidence outside of his theory. Let's probably look into this for a minute. So
At
every
least it's the only thing we got to go on.
so every time he's like, let's try this out. His partner, who's played by Corey Hawkins, who I'm so sad of how his career is going right now.
Yeah, I saw him in this. I was like, dang, y'all got Corey Hawkins being the sidekick cop.
He's
Like,
he's
come
only in
on, bro.
like 3, 4 scenes, and then by the last one, you're like, oh, he's a bitch. He did some
Yeah,
whole shit.
he did do some whole shit towards the end
And
of this movie. He did do some whole
And
shit.
again, the whole shit is never explained,
Yeah.
which it's supposed to be a very good, like, crucial part of about the movie, but
Mhm.
it's never explained after that. Like, it honestly, I don't understand why that happened. there was
I don't
no
think his
need.
character was ever in the movie after that happened.
No, he wasn't.
I think that was the last scene you
And that's
saw
what I
him.
mean, like, there was no point of that the scene leading up to that happening at all,
Yeah,
and I think
yeah.
there's a lot of that, so, in this whole, and I'm pretty sure I just got off of the point I was trying to make, and I don't remember what it was anymore, so I'm just rolling into the next.
But it was focused mainly on Mark Ruffalo's character, just the
Oh,
similarities between him and or this and then him and Task.
yeah, so, like, in Task, he's working with a team of people that's coming up, and they're like, "Oh, yeah," and he's the boss in this, but you watch this one, and you're like, "Okay," they kinda like Farhan said, when they start the movie, they kinda build him as this character who's really just content on life. He's content in his marriage, content in his job. We don't know if this nigga got kids. I'm assuming they don't because it's just weird. Like he's using the bathroom and brushing his teeth at the same time, which is wow,
Yeah, that was
wow. But
that
that's
nasty
very
work.
much so some stuff that I did. And his wife busts in, she's talking to him and shit. It's very odd. Like they
That's not
added
even the craziest thing. She was like, "If you go take a shit with dude," he's like, "I'm peeing." She's like, "You peeing sitting down? Best 3 minutes of my day." What?
Yeah. How nigga, you peeing for 3 minutes?
Like it
You
was
need to
that
go
that
get checked out, my dog.
there's several concerning things about that scene. I ain't gonna hold you. Like it's a
Yeah.
few things I was looking at that character. Like I could already tell. Like you say you don't see why they didn't like him. I could tell by that scene. I was like, yeah, you the oddball. You're the oddball.
And that's the thing, like, he does do some oddball shit. Like, he drives I guess, a old ass raggedy department car, which, let's be honest, if the car is this bad, the department's not letting him ride around in it because at this point it's a safety risk. And
Mhm.
you hear the car. So, like,
Nah,
this
facts.
and this should not be on a road. I don't know, it's just everything about it is weird. I think that the overall runtime of the movie I usually don't mind a 2 hour, 20-minute movie. I
This
usually
was too
do
long.
not.
This was
This
too
was
long.
too long. Where I
Yeah,
said
I agree.
last week about, How to Make a Killing, I said, "I feel like this could have been a lot longer to explain some things out." If they would've removed some things out of this movie, it would've been a lot better because they wouldn't have had to explain the things that they did. They they left too much runtime in here. They tried to focus on too many things throughout the movie. Honestly, like, outside of giving spoilers, it's not a it's I'm going from it's not a bad movie to it's not that bad of a movie to it's not a bad movie, because I'm finding more issues that I have with the movie than not.
Yeah,
So I'll
I
let
would
you do
say
your thing,
overall.
good things, and
Yeah, I was
I'll
about to
just
say
come
'cause
back
I
at
actually
you.
like this. Like overall, I actually like for the most part rocked with this film. I agree with some of the critiques. I think character motivations kind of flipped on a dime in some cases. It was a little rapid. I think there were a few scenes and plot points in here that could have been cut out because one benefit to trying to do a slow burn crime genre or crime thriller, type of genre film is you can tell a story from different perspectives and what I'm saying, you can have each character's perspective, connect at certain points. Like that's I think an effective way to tell your story. But when you're trying to have too many competing storylines all going on at the same time, all of which have varying levels of interest from me, the audience, like this story over here, I'm really locked in with. But this story about this girl that I know for sure Chris Hemsworth's character is not going to be with by the end of the movie,
I
not as interesting.
forgot
You know
about
what
that.
I'm saying? To my point, right? Like,
Very, very
so
unnecessary plot point.
there were just a lot of plot points that you would think, and if you were going to have something like that in there, at least have it push the story forward or push that character forward. I don't really think that there were much thought put into some of the storylines that were kind of dragged out throughout especially the second act of this movie. I think there's a lot of scenes in here and a lot of plot points that if they had been cut out would have made the film a lot tighter and kind of would have helped it get to its point a lot quicker. Because to be honest, to your point, this movie does not need to be. I think it's like 2 hours and 20 minutes. It really doesn't need to be that long. I think this could be very effective being like an hour 45, hour 50. And I feel like it could have been a lot tighter. And I feel like there are a lot of scenes that had they been taken out would have made this film a lot more effective. But outside of those critiques, overall, I really, really enjoyed this. Like but also I understand my biases as a film fan. I am the target audience for this.
Right.
I love crime thrillers. If I named you my favorite movies right now, Heat, Seven, Menace to Society, Usual Suspects,
Yeah.
Godfather 2. I have a thing for watching people do illegal shit. What that says about me, do not know. But a lot of my favorite movies
I guess a
happen to
delinquent.
involve people doing illegal shit. So just off rip, this movie was already going to speak to me just off that. Then you couple that with the fact that the performances are really strong. You couple that with there's a lot of really strong scenes in here
Mhm.
and scenes that actually build pretty effective tension, right? And I think overall the flow of the story for the most part is pretty clean, but it interrupts that flow with a lot of unnecessary plot points that, in my opinion, don't need to be there or could have just been shortened, even if they are there. Like you didn't need to spend as much time on some of these plot points as you did to kind of distracts from some of the other more important parts of the story that I think needed a little bit more attention in this. But overall, I don't really have, outside of those critiques, much else negative to say about this movie. I think Chris Hemsworth's performance was decent enough. I think maybe he could have been, I think maybe he was a slightly miscast, only because I think you're trying to have him portray a character that's very socially awkward, lacking the ability to like communicate effectively with people. And that doesn't seem as believable for a character like for someone who looks like Chris Hemsworth, right? Like you got this suave, very leading man type of dude trying to play this very socially awkward, very lonely character. It doesn't hit as well. I don't think Chris Hemsworth brought that part of the character out as well.
You know
And
what
then when you
though? I
no,
think
well, go ahead.
for the most part, I think he really did. But the issue is they also have him playing this suave fucking character at
They have him
times.
doing both.
So,
Yes.
like I said, when the first scene where we see him be kind of awkward, where somebody asks him, they like, eye contact, no eye contact. And he's not making eye contact. So we believe like, okay, this
Mhm.
nigga's a little awkward. But
Yeah.
that's it. We don't see if he actually makes eye contact with them. It kind of just fades away.
Yeah.
We're led to believe he doesn't want eye contact. All right.
Yeah, but then to
Um,
your point, there will be a lot of scenes where, especially when he's interacting with Halle Berry's
Halle
character, like
Berry's get
there's a lot of scenes where he come
oh,
in, starts talking real smooth, real
mhm,
put together, and it's like, okay, so clearly this character is capable of putting that
right.
mask on. So it's hard to then look at him like that and then watch him go back into like this, for lack of a better phrase, kind of Steve Urkelish act that
Right.
he
Yeah,
puts
no,
on, where he's
100%.
just very socially awkward. It was
So
like very weird how they kind of flow between both those personalities with this
So to
character.
your point, I don't want to say it's a miscast because I feel like if they would have played it that way, he would have been fine doing it. But it's
Mhm,
the fact that they have him playing both of these. They have
mhm.
him playing both these different it's one character, but both these characters essentially. And
Yeah.
it's not really explained out to where, okay, I'm working right now. So that's why
Mhm,
I have this confidence. It's
mhm.
not really explained like that. It's just
Yeah,
he kind of just switches.
yeah,
Um and it's just a lot that's not explained about. You already know how I feel about actors playing American roles. So I ain't gonna even get into him playing fucking I will say I don't
yeah,
hate it.
yeah,
The way he delivers most of his lines. Like I said, I do believe he is probably when you do see him acting, the acting is probably the best part of the movie. Um, the script
yeah, for
the
sure.
script kinda suffers in some parts, but the acting kinda brings it back. Like I said,
Yeah,
the scenes with him and Holly Berry together are good. Um, the scene there him and Mark Ruffalo don't have a lot of scenes together, but the one scene or couple scenes that they have together, I thought was done really well. I thought it was
yeah.
played really well, and it kinda gives you they try to give you that heat exchange
Mhm.
somewhat,
Yes,
where I know
yes.
you're a criminal and I'm coming to get you. And again, I'm thinking from Chris Hemsworth's point of view that he knows that Mark Ruffalo is out to get him.
Mhm.
But right after that, we realize that he has no fucking clue what's going on.
Yeah.
Um,
And he's the perfect comparison actually, because there's a lot of this movie. I'm not gonna say this movie is a ripoff of Heat. I think that would be disingenuous because that's
yeah,
Den of Thieves. This movie is more like heavily inspired by Heat, but still its very own story.
yeah,
But there's definitely some scenes in here and some plot points you're gonna look at and go like, this feels very much like Heat.
very heatish.
Very, very heatish. I think generally speaking, I think this film does what it intends to do well. This wasn't really trying to be this over the top
Yeah,
action type of crime thriller. And we've seen that work. Heat had definitely had a lot more action than this did. Den of Thieves took that to the moon, like to the max with it. This was definitely more of after that opening initial scene, that was, I guess, a little bit action packed. After that, this, like I said, this movie really slows down. And it is a very slow burn type of crime thriller
Even the
that,
action is slow burn. Like,
yeah,
it's
even the
like
action is
so
slow burn type of
so
action.
to your point, honestly, I wouldn't even I seen somebody in one of the reviews say, like, this they have this as a build as a crime as a, action movie. I don't see that in at least the IMDb. Maybe that's what the director intended, is for it to be action, but for this just to be a crime
It's just
thriller,
not an action movie at
not at
all.
all. So
It's not
so
even
for it being
close.
a crime thriller slash drama, that's 100% fine. That makes
Yeah.
100% while viewing this movie
Yeah, really
because
more drama than crime thriller,
yeah,
honestly,
because
like,
you say it like he has a code, which they don't explain why he has a code and
nah.
why it's there at all. So that's a gripe that I have with it. But he
Mhm.
does have a code, and
Yeah.
he doesn't. And again, they mentioned this in the trailer. He doesn't hurt people, so he commits these. Which it's hard to say something is non-violent when somebody has a gun in your face
Yeah, I'm about
because
to say saying it's a nonviolent crime when you getting a gun pointed at you is a
you
it's
know
a
it's
stretch.
it's kind of wild. He's kind of
Yeah.
billed as a gentleman criminal though. Like I think in the trailer he kind of kidnaps a guy, throws him in the trunk of a car, and he's like, "Oh,
There's
there's
water
water
in
in
the
the
trunk.
trunk." It's like, "Okay, cool, thanks, but nigga, you still put me in the trunk with a gun to my head." You
Or when
know?
he took those dudes' phones and then gave them back, he was like, "Hope you had your storage backed up." Like, bro, you ain't nobody worried about that right now.
Yeah, nigga,
Like,
so it's kind of it's just very wild. I would like I said, I wouldn't consider this a action drama. It's not a lot of shootouts in the movie. There's no shootouts in the movie actually.
it's really like one
I'm trying to
kind
think.
of.
And even then, I'm trying to think of, like, it's maybe 3 gunshots in the movie.
Yeah, that's actually accurate.
Like, the 3
Yeah,
times that somebody pulled a
a gun
trigger
actually went
in this
off. Yeah,
movie. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's actually very fair.
So
There's
so and it's no real, like, fight scenes. It's like
there's
maybe
none. Well,
it's
actually, no, it's like two.
1, 2, yeah.
Yeah,
They're very
yeah,
po like I said, it's not built as an action movie. So, like,
yeah,
for just to be a crime thriller drama, I think it does well, like I said, but like I said, it's just a few things that I think watching it, like I said, the 2 hour, 20 minutes runtime really
that was a lot.
that really made my feelings towards this movie a lot worse, to be honest with you. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm watching, I'm like, "Okay, well, we can speed this shit up," and now I'm wondering, like, "Alright, when's the next thing gonna happen?" Because like you said, it is a very slow burn, but
hmm,
it doesn't the it's going with the story, so it's
yeah,
making sense. I
yeah,
don't mind the slow burn, but I mind the slow burn when, okay, what the fuck does this have to do with the movie? So when you get to the
yeah.
end of the movie, you're like, okay, I don't mind the slow burn because this is gonna pay off. None of the shit
Exactly.
pays off.
Yeah, and that's why I said initially, like, this movie's not gonna be for everybody. I personally enjoyed it, but this was definitely a film after I got done watching it, I was like, I it's a movie I like, but I can see and understand how and why a lot of, maybe not a lot of, because the reviews on this actually have been generally, for the most part,
No.
positive. But I can see how some people would watch this and go, I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? Because to your point, like, a slow burn movie is effective for most people when there's a grand payoff towards the end of it, or it feels like the slow burn is leading up to something. This doesn't really do that. It's more of a slow burn to just focus on these people as they are, like this thief, this insurance broker, and this detective. Like, we're really just going to sit and just experience the story through these people's perspectives in, I guess you could say, in one of the more realistic ways you possibly can. You know what I'm saying? There's not really a lot of spectacle put into this film. It's really trying to be as very straightforward as possible.
Mhm,
And for me, that worked. Like, I think for me, this film, once I kind of realized the type of movie I was in for, I was like, okay, cool. I can rock with this. And even though it is a slow burn, it felt like for the most part, all of these scenes were connecting and leading towards something. And it all made sense, right? The story was flowing because you started to pick up, because like I said, there's not a lot that's over explained in this.
mhm,
They don't sit here and tell you, all right, this plot point's going to lead here. They just go, here, audience, here's the characters, here's their interaction, here's what they're saying, here's what they're not saying. And we trust you, the audience, to be smart enough to put all the pieces of the puzzle together from just experiencing the story as we progress through it. And for the most part, I was able to do that pretty effectively. And even though it doesn't lead to this grand, big payoff at the end, it still leads in a way that makes sense. And it connects with all the breadcrumbs that were placed before for us to get to that ending. So overall, I do think this film was effective in what it was trying to accomplish. But if I were to recommend this, I would just do it with an asterisk of like, if crime thrillers isn't like your bag, like if you just kind of like them, but that's not like your type of films that you would like go out of your way to see, I could see you not really rocking with this, especially if you're not a big fan of slow burns, because it's exactly what this is. Like I feel like you kind of got to watch this movie with a certain eye to fully appreciate it, I think. And I feel like if you're coming into this going, oh, it's called Crime 101, it's got Chris Hemsworth, Halle Berry, and Mark Ruffalo, and it looked like they got guns. Okay, let's go. You're gonna be disappointed
Yeah.
by the end of this if you're going into this with that mindset. So just understand the type of movie you're going in to see. And I feel like that is going to impact a lot of people's viewing experiences with this on whether or not they come out enjoying it. Um, Before I go into ratings and everything, I'll let you give any last thoughts that you may have.
I think at this point I'd be beating a dead horse to go back about the shit that I'm saying. Because like I
Yeah,
said, I did not hate the movie. I actually liked the movie for what it was. But like I said, there are some things that a shorter runtime. Again, with the longer runtime, they added things in there that did not need to be in there. They added a lot of
yeah.
plot points that didn't need to be in there. They did not need to have this love interest in there. And
That was
again, like
more
I
than
said,
necessary.
the way that the movie ends, it just ends.
Yeah,
You know,
it just ends.
like
Just boom,
the
credits.
and when I say it just ends, I mean the story is not complete at all. Mark Ruffalo's character does something completely out of character, and I'm wondering like, okay, well, this nigga needs to be in jail now. Holly Berry's character is fine. Everything her character did makes 100% sense to me. And again, maybe
Mhm.
it's because it's Holly Berry. If it was Maggie Gyllenhaal, maybe I would have been like, no, this is dumb
We
as
didn't
fuck.
do our Black Queen shout out. We're
I,
folding.
I
Shout
know.
out to
Well,
Halle Berry.
and I didn't because what I was going to say was I can't say anything bad about anything Halle Berry. You know,
That's
May,
fair.
maybe
I agree.
maybe I think this movie's not bad because Halle
Because
Berry's
Halle
in it.
Berry.
All right.
That's fair.
They
That's 100% valid.
they do
100%
say her
valid.
character is 53 in here. Halle Berry's 59, and she does not look a day over
Could have
41 in this
fooled
movie.
me. Could have fooled me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Only
Could have
negative thing
fooled
I'll
me.
ever say about Halle Berry is she chose that nigga over me. Like
That's
like I don't even know this nigga's name. Come
but he
on.
ain't you,
He
so it's a
ain't me,
problem.
you know? I mean, I know she don't know
Uh,
me, but
but
she
still, you know what I'm
yeah, still
saying?
she should.
Still,
Come on,
she
like,
should. She should. You know, a
since
brother
I was
can dream.
since I was a
A
baby, I
brother,
loved you.
yeah.
And
You
this is what you
know,
do to me? You gonna marry this nigga?
you feel me? The audacity. You know what I'm
Audacity.
saying?
I'm
Like, let me
disgusted.
live in my delusion. You know what I'm saying? Just let me live in my delusion in peace. I feel you. I feel
But
you,
no,
brother man. I feel you.
her character's probably the only character that it makes sense, and
Yeah.
her motivations make sense. Again, we already know how I feel about timelines. They don't put timelines in movies because I guess they feel like it's unnecessary. But this is one where they may have needed it. And I think
Yeah.
where her contacting Chris Hemsworth's character probably should have started a little earlier throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then it would have made a lot more sense because she's kind of being dogged at work throughout the movie.
Boy,
And
bad.
we know like immediately
Yeah, like
what
first
she,
scene you see her at work, I'm like, oh, they do not rock with you, boy.
yeah,
Like they is
you
not,
know.
they was
So
not rocking with my girl.
So we kind of see that immediately, and I think if that would have happened faster, it would have made more sense. It still
Yeah,
made sense when it happened. Okay, it
yeah,
still made sense. But then they add another part where another female gets hired in her office. That shit was unnecessary. Like the whole.
uh,
I
I was,
say it because
her character was a little necessary.
I say this because they could have had. They didn't show they did, and this goes to your point where they don't explain things,
Uh,
and you should just figure it out because you'll see her the character that I'm talking about is she's a younger female actress or character, and you see her in the office and she's dressed very work casual,
mhm.
and then you see her leaving out at work one day and like she got her dress
Yeah,
slipped
a
over her
little more
shoulders.
revealing.
She's showing a
Yeah,
little more shoulders, and then the last time we see her, she's talking to one of the I guess
the
the
partners. Yeah,
partners,
yeah,
and she sit back again. She got a sweater on, both shoulders is out. All right,
mhm.
with the sweater on. She's kind of sitting back giggling at the guy. So like Yeah, I get it, but we already know that they're not rocking with her at work.
Mhm.
That was enough. We didn't need to
Yeah.
hire another person. For me, we
To
didn't need to
further
hire another.
highlight it,
Yeah,
yeah.
to further highlight. It's already highlighted. Y'all don't give a fuck about her. Y'all don't want her to advance in this place. That Mark, like I said, Mark Ruffalo's character just we know at some point he's going through a divorce. And again, they don't really, we kind of pick up the reason why he's going through a divorce. And they don't even say divorce, it's really a separation.
Yeah,
And it just happens. We don't see this lady, and I'm sorry, I meant to actually look her up because she's been in other things, and I actually like her as an actor. Like, she's really good in the things that I see her in. It's just things just happen in this movie. They just sort of happen in this movie, and then that's it.
that's
The
fair.
last thing I am gonna beat the dead horse on this is it just ends. It just ends. So it ends with a lot of open points. Chris Hemsworth's character, he makes a very direct threat to Barry Cogan, and he does not follow through on that threat.
Not even a
Or
little bit, and he
if
was supposed to
if
because he
he
did the very thing he told you not to do.
if he does, we don't see it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Nick Nolte's character is a hoe. Yeah.
Terrible, bro.
Yeah.
Hey,
So even that, bro, they're supposed to be doing heists for this long together, and he say one thing to you, and you like, man, fuck this nigga. I'm gonna
I'm
throw
about
him
to
under the
just,
bridge.
hey, throw him
Like,
under the
yo,
bridge, find someone else to do it. Hey, you can't,
and
ain't no honor amongst thieves, boy. You know what profession you in.
the last thing Imma do is I'll let you want me to give my rating first, or you wanna give your rating first?
Yo, you can go ahead and give yours.
Alright, so before I give my rating, I'm not gonna read this whole review because, like I said, the reviews have been very I would say most of the reviews I've seen have been between about a 6 and a 9 for this movie. This one was a 6. It's titled "Strong Performances Trapped in Uneven Writing." I'm gonna read the last paragraph, then I'll read a part of it. The biggest weakness for me lies in the writing and direction. Overall, Crime 101 isn't a bad film, but its inconsistent writing and drag pacing hold it back from becoming a gripping crime drama. It could have been better. And honestly, that's been my whole thing. Like I said, it's
Mhm.
a longer paragraph that gets into some things. Like I said, they talk about the good things about the movie. The visuals of the film were good. It's a pretty good. I don't want to say a car chase that happens at the beginning of the film, but it's a car scene that happens that's pretty good. I thought it was good. And it kind of shows that he's not above panic. So even though he's
Yeah,
an experienced thief, when something happens that goes off bad, he's not. What's the Jason Statham in the Transporter? He's not him.
yeah.
Overall, and I really hate to give this rating again because I feel like this is all I've been given this year. I'm gonna give it polite applause, but it's going to be in the latter part of polite applause. I think it really is a lot higher than middle of the road, but it's not that much higher.
I didn't think we were gonna end up agreeing on our rating the way this review started, but I'm gonna get this a polite applause
It's a
too.
good movie. I mean, it's just could have
Yeah,
been better.
it's good. It's just I agree, could have been better. Some things could have been cut out to make it a little bit tighter. Overall, I think this executed on what it need to. It was like the same critique I would give to like the fall off for all my hip hop fans out there. Didn't need to be 24 songs. It's like 8 to
At
9 songs
all.
could have been cut
At
out,
all.
would have made that album so much
And I'm a
better.
J. Cole fan. That shit could have been ugh.
Yes, transfer that same critique to this
And
movie.
Imma
It's
just say
at
this
least
before you
3 or
give your
4 to
rating.
5 scenes that
It
could have been cut out.
the album was titled correct.
All right. Well, we're not gonna get into too much J. Cole slander here on the Real Junkies because I am still a
It's
fan.
not slander. I'm
So
still a fan, but like I
yeah.
said, 24 songs and that with that out for J. Cole, that was not a good album.
Fine.
I d I expect a lot more from J. Cole. For 24 songs, I expect a lot more.
Yeah. It similar critiques. Yeah. Just make things a little bit tighter. We don't need to drag it out. You know what I'm saying? Like with just unnecessary scenes and unnecessary songs in both cases. Let us know if you guys have seen Crime 101. It's been out for give or take a month now. And it's still in theaters if you guys still want to go check
Mhm.
it out. Always continue to like, comment, subscribe. We do appreciate all the support. And until next time, this is the Real Junkies. Peace.